I didn't expect my father to attend the promotion ceremony. What surprised me was how little it still hurt when he refused. By then, I was 36 years old. I had spent most of my adult life working in government service, moving from assignment to assignment, collecting responsibilities instead of attention. The promotion wasn't glamorous, it wasn't political, it was simply the result of years of work that nobody outside my profession would ever fully understand. I called my parents anyway. My mother sounded distracted, my father sounded annoyed. "A promotion ceremony," he repeated. There was a pause, then he laughed. "We're not wasting our time on your pathetic little promotion ceremony." The words landed exactly where he intended them to. I remember staring at the kitchen wall after the call ended, not angry, just tired. The strange thing about disappointment is that repetition eventually removes the shock. I attended alone. The ceremony was professional and brief. A few speeches, handshakes, new credentials, people congratulated me. I smiled, but when I drove home that evening, the strongest memory wasn't the promotion itself, it was the empty seats. For a while, life continued normally. The promotion brought larger responsibilities and longer hours. My work gradually expanded into areas that required coordination with federal agencies and senior officials. I rarely talked about it, not because it was classified, because nobody in my family ever seemed interested. When my mother called, she asked about weather. My father asked whether I planned to get a real management job someday. I stopped correcting either of them. Years passed, the distance became routine. Then one Sunday morning, everything changed because of a newspaper. I wasn't even aware the photograph had been published. A journalist covering a policy conference had captured a group of officials arriving at the Pentagon. I happened to be among them. The image wasn't particularly dramatic. I was walking toward an entrance carrying a folder. 2 security officers assigned to our delegation were visible behind me. That was enough. My mother called before noon. Her voice sounded different, nervous. "We need to talk." "About what?" "Family meeting tomorrow." I nearly laughed at it. We hadn't had a family meeting in years. "What happened?" "Just come." The line went silent. The next afternoon I drove to my parents' house. The atmosphere felt strange before I even entered. My younger brother was there, my aunt, 2 cousins. Apparently the newspaper had circulated through the entire family. Everyone suddenly had questions. Everyone suddenly wanted details. My father greeted me at the door with a smile that looked unfamiliar. He had never been openly cruel most of the time. His talent was dismissal. Now the dismissal was gone. In its place was curiosity. The living room filled quickly. People asked what I actually did, what projects I worked on, how often I traveled, who I reported it to. The questions came faster than the answers. Mostly I listened. It was fascinating watching people reconstruct an image they had carried for years. They thought they knew me. They realized they didn't. Then my surprise arrived, not intentionally, not because I planned it. My phone vibrated. I glanced at the screen. An operations coordinator. I stepped away from the conversation and answered. The room became quiet almost immediately. Everyone could hear only my side. Yes, a pause. No, I can be available within 30 minutes. Another pause. Have the briefing package sent to the secure channel. Silence, then understood. I ended the call. When I turned around, nobody was speaking. My father stared at me. "What was that?" I hesitated. Normally I would have brushed it aside. This time I didn't. "A work issue." My cousin frowned. "You have to leave? Possibly right now?" I nodded. The room felt smaller. Then my phone rang again. This time the name on the screen was recognizable enough that even my brother noticed. His eyes widened. The call lasted less than a minute. Professional routine, nothing extraordinary from my perspective. But I could feel the room changing around me, not because they suddenly respected me, because authority had entered the room without asking permission. For years, my family had treated my career like an obscure hobby. Now they were witnessing evidence that other institutions viewed it differently. The shift was unmistakable. My father sat down slowly. Nobody asked sarcastic questions anymore. Nobody joked, nobody laughed. The silence felt heavier than any argument. Finally, my mother spoke. "I don't think we realized." She stopped. I knew the sentence she couldn't finish. "We didn't realize who you became." The truth was simpler. They never tried to find out. A few minutes later, I gathered my coat. My father followed me to the door. For the first time in years, he seemed uncertain. "I suppose you've done pretty well." It wasn't an apology. He wasn't built for apologies, but it was probably the closest thing he could manage. I looked at him for a moment. The old version of me would have waited years to hear those words. Now they felt oddly small. "I've done fine," I said. He nodded. Neither of us knew what came next. Outside, the evening air felt cool. My phone buzzed again. Work waiting, responsibilities waiting, life waiting. Behind me, through the front window, I could see my family still sitting in the living room, talking quietly, trying to understand something they should have understood years earlier. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel angry. Mostly, I felt free. Their recognition had finally arrived. But somewhere along the way, I had learned how to live without it, and that turned out to matter far more than